Information from farm broadcasters, highly trustworthy. When you need to reach rural America effectively, choose the voices they already trust. Visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com and discover how Ag Radio can elevate your agricultural marketing strategy.
WHOW planting reports are brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick, AAK Mechanical, Peterson Insurance, Longview Bank, and State Bank of Beemont.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. A Clinton grocery store is reducing the price of a hot commodity to prices not seen in decades. Dave Jackson, owner of the Clinton Save-A-Lot, announced on Tuesday morning that he has lowered the price of a dozen eggs to just 39 cents. Jackson points to a sharp increase in egg supply, and the lack of recent avian flu outbreaks has caused costs to plummet.
Well, yeah, a couple months ago we had 59-cent dozen eggs, and this follows a couple years of eggs getting to $5, $6, in some places $7, $8, $9, $10 a dozen. So, I knew that eggs would come down at some point. I don't think a lot of people believed me that we'd be under $1 on eggs. So we were able to, with egg costs going down, we were able to get to 59 cents a few months ago. Well, the egg supply has increased dramatically. The avian flu hasn't been an issue. So the supply is outstripping the demand tremendously. So the cost has plummeted. So I just made a decision. We don't normally run any sort of, lower price. I hate to even use the word promotion, but eggs are such a sensitive topic that I just decided to take the plunge. And effective this morning, we lowered dozen eggs to 39 cents a dozen, 3.3 cents an egg. I mean, you have to go back to the late 50s and 60s to when eggs were averaging 39 cents. So almost 70 years ago, that was the price of eggs. And the fact is, this isn't something we had to do. This is just something that I wanted to do to let the customers enjoy a low price. And we're going to run this at least for a week and maybe longer. It just depends on the cost, but the cost has just hit rock bottom, and most retailers have not followed. I mean, they're still making a pretty obscene margin on eggs, quite honestly. And of course, that's up to them. But anyway, I just want to do something that would be exciting and give people some hope on pricing and save them a lot of money.
While large retailers in neighboring areas are still pricing eggs above $1, Jackson decided to pass the savings directly to his customers. He believes that as long as the supply remains stable and free from disease issues, prices should stay relatively low for the short term.
I think, this is just my speculation, as long as there's not a bird flu issue or some other market thing that affects the egg supply, I think eggs are going to stay relatively low for the short term. But this 39 cent thing is obviously somewhat temporary, but I'm going to hold this price at least for a week and maybe longer. It just depends. But anyway, it's just really exciting to do something that we've chosen to do this. We didn't have to, obviously. And if you look at Educator, they range from Walmart at $1.47 to Kroger $1.79. All these $1.66. So, just also reinforcing in people's minds that these big stores, that doesn't equal lower. It doesn't mean they're lower. It just means they're bigger, like we talked about a few months ago.
Mm-hmm. According to Jackson, this is a way to give back to the community after years of high costs, noting the store previously lost significant money just to keep egg prices at a respectable level for consumers.
Yeah, we already had on hand probably 400 dozen. We got in 3,600 dozen this morning. So we have 4,000 dozen eggs here right now. And there is a limit of 3 dozens per family or 2 18 packs per family, because we don't want people to come in and just grab too many, and then we have an issue with running out. And also businesses and restaurants, this is not for them. This is for the consumer. So this is kind of payback for all the years of eggs being $2.99, $3.99, $6.99. We never went above. I think we went to $5.49 for a week or two. They were costing like $6.40 at the time. So we were losing $1,000 a week on eggs many, many, many times.
Wow.
Just to keep the egg retail where it's respectable.
The relief at the dairy case stands in stark contrast to other areas of the meat department. While egg prices are hitting historic lows, other protein commodities continue to climb. National data from the USDA shows that beef prices have surged more than 12% over the last year, with ground beef recently surpassing $6.70 per pound. Pork and poultry have seen more modest increases of about 1.5% compared to last spring, as tight cattle inventories and high input costs continue to put pressure on grocery budgets across central Illinois. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, University of Illinois Extension commercial ag educator taking note of planting trends. A major dust storm blew through DeWitt County and the surrounding area on Monday, a weather event that seems to be becoming more common. DeWitt County Emergency Management Agency Coordinator Will Pavlik told the Heart Media Group the most important thing to remember while on the roads in the event of a dust storm is to pull aside and stay alive.
We had a dust storm kind of roll through, I believe it was around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon or so. We had a wireless emergency alert put out from the National Weather Service that there was a dust storm warning. We had known earlier in the day that the conditions were favorable to present a dust storm. And so the dust storm yesterday, it kind of covered a good majority of our county. And as it progressed east, it hit Champaign County, Piatt County, McLean County, and some other counties to our east and north. And that's kind of where we were at yesterday. I know for folks that were around yesterday in the polygon that they created for the dust storm warning, they should have gotten an emergency alert on their phone from the National Weather Service, detailing that there was a dust storm warning until a certain time, and some of the safety precautions that come with that. And so to your point, kind of the big thing that is pushed out during these dust storm warnings is pull aside, stay alive. And that's kind of the big 4 words there. If you're driving and you see dust coming at you, you want to pull aside. You want to go to the road, potentially even in the ditch, just so that you're away from all drivers that could be coming behind you. And turning off your lights is also huge. And really engaging that emergency brake are, again, some of the big things to take into account. And just making sure that you're stopped, you're in your car, you're safe, but you're away from other drivers that may not see you, that are behind you. It may be confusing sometimes to have your lights on, and so it's also good to turn off your lights so that other drivers aren't following those lights and potentially running into you off the side of the road as well.
Communication between the National Weather Service and the Emergency Management Agency is crucial to public safety. As dust storms become more frequent, Ed Shimon with the National Weather Service explains that they have been partnering with the University of Illinois Extension to improve the alerting of the public to quickly changing conditions.
We coordinate with National Weather very closely during these just because they've become a little bit more common. And I know a dust storm warning hadn't even been issued for quite some time before last year when we had one back in May, I believe. And, like I said, that communication is huge with National Weather. They typically will put out a wireless emergency alert right away for the affected area.
We've been working through the Illinois Extension office in Lincoln here. Reagan Tibbs is kind of one of our points of contact. And we've been primarily trying to figure out for dust storm days, what are the status of the fields? How are they being worked over? And have they been tilled recently? Things like that. We're trying to get a status of that through them, just so if we have a day that's really excessively windy and we know the soils are primed for potentially being picked up by strong winds, then we have an idea to get ahead of some dust storm advisories and warnings as needed.
While Pavlik indicates there were no reported car accidents or road closures on Monday, he stresses the potentially life-threatening dangers of being on the road during a dust storm.
We were monitoring and communicating, just making sure that there weren't any reports coming in of potential accidents, because obviously people can't see each other on the road and it makes it difficult. Fortunately, I don't believe we had any accidents to my knowledge on some of our roadways. I know there were some road closures to our east. I believe US 136 between McLean County and Champaign County was closed for quite some time by ISP due to the dust. I believe gusts were going about 40 miles an hour at that time. It made it, like I said, a really life-threatening situation for potential drivers. So fortunately, like I said, I think DeWitt County was relatively unaffected, but there were definitely some areas, particularly in the eastern part of the county near DeWitt and Farmer City, that were, there were pictures coming in that there was plenty of dust kicking up and causing some of the roads to be, half-mile visibility or less at times. Just a little bit of a background, dust storm kind of happens when there's an outflow boundary from a storm that's about to come in, and the winds can pick up some topsoil and end up blowing, a bunch of dust kind of in the general direction that the wind is blowing. So with the fact that there were some storms predicted for last night, that outflow really picked up some of the topsoil, from the freshly tilled land that has been kind of going on during this season, and just picked up all of this dust, and the wind just blew it. And it creates, obviously a lot of low visibility potential and a lot of dangers when driving. There's a lot of people that are out on the roads and they see this dust coming, and it makes it hard to see and makes it a really dangerous and potentially life-threatening situation.
Pavlik feels that dust storms will continue to be a problem during this time of year, and again emphasizes the mantra, pull aside, stay alive. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at BaumChevyBuick.com right from the start.
It's the quiet moments you count on. A call that connects instantly, a show that never buffers, a home that just works. That's the difference with Connexus Fiber Internet. We built a buried fiber network designed for consistency, earning us the title of top-rated fiber internet provider in Illinois. With plans starting as low as $25 a month and 3-year price lock options, it's reliability you can feel without the unpredictability. Because with Connexus, connection means everything. Experience better at Connexus.com. Nothing Connexus like Connexus.
News time is 23 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Planters are rolling across the state as producers try to take advantage of the windows to get its 2026 crop in the ground. As of last week, the USDA reported 29% of corn and 36% of soybeans had been planted across Illinois, far outpacing the 5-year average of 19% and 18%. Reagan Tibbs, a commercial agriculture educator at the University of Illinois Extension, says the warm temperatures and beneficial rains throughout April have not only accelerated planting, but have also led to early emergence.
Yeah, USDA usually publishes those on Mondays. So the last report we had was from this past Monday, the 27th. For Illinois, it reported that we were at 29% of all of our corn acres were planted and 36 of our soybean acres were planted across the state. Let's compare those to the 5-year averages. For corn, our 5-year average is 19%, so we're well ahead of our 5-year average for that. And with soybeans, our usual 5-year average is 18%, so we're almost double at our usual planting. And that's because, that we've gotten those beneficial rains. The temperatures have been really, really nice across all of April. And so yeah, a lot of those conditions have really helped us get the crops in the ground. And not only are we getting them planted, we're starting to see some emerged as well. In that same report, we had corn, 12% of our corn acres that have been planted are already emerged. Our 5-year average is 2%. And with soybeans, of those acres that have been planted, 15% were emerged, and our 5-year average was 2%. So again, not only are we getting the crop in the ground, we're also getting the crop starting to emerge and get a lot of those benefits from the temperature and rain.
The early start was particularly notable for soybean producers, with some reporting completed planting as early as mid-April. Tibbs notes while the early start is beneficial, some producers may be facing replanting decisions in areas where heavy saturation has impacted the newly emerged crops.
I heard one producer say they had all their soybeans planted by April the 15th,
Yeah.
which is really early for this area. And again, it's get them in the ground. And what happened right after that April 15th timeline? We've had those really beneficial rains that have come through. We've had really good temperatures that have helped that crop get the good start. So definitely, I think those 5-year averages will continue to shift, especially now if we're at 29% and 36% planted at this point of the year. Definitely, we're going to see a lot of improvement over the 5-year average. Talking to someone yesterday, and they're asking how much. I think with some of our acres that have already started to emerge, there may not be as much pre-plant, but for those that were planted, especially after this last round of heavy rain we got last week, I definitely think that we could see some replanting. I know there's still over by me in Logan County, and I saw it here on my way over this morning. A lot of standing water still in the field, and the ditches were still full. You can see a lot of washout areas. So those might be areas where we have to see a little bit of replanting this year. But thankfully, we're early enough in the growing season that decision is a little bit easier to make. And so, yeah, I definitely think replanting could have to be a factor.
Central Illinois saw an average of 7 inches of rain in April, significantly higher than the normal average of 4. Beyond the weather, economic factors like rising fuel prices have also influenced planting strategies. Tibbs points out that some farmers are opting for fewer tillage passes to manage operational costs.
Definitely one thing I'm very happy to see is we are, for most of the parts of Central Illinois here, we are out of the drought officially for the first time since last year, which was really awesome to see. There's still a little bit of a trouble area over by Champaign, that area. That's not really necessarily a drought, but just a little bit dry, which is nothing too unusual for this time of year and moving forward. So definitely now that we have all this moisture in the ground, let's keep it in the ground and let's get those crops to have a good start moving forward for the spring. That's one thing I'm really happy to see. Obviously I think we got 7 inches of rain in April, and our normal rainfall average is 4. So we definitely have a lot of moisture there that we can use moving forward in May, and hopefully we get those timely rains in May. Like you said, the dry conditions certainly part of that. Fuel prices, obviously, when the conflict started in Iran, I think then we've seen fuel prices continue to increase ever since then. Those decisions about, is it worth it to make that one extra tillage pass, or just, hey, we'll just do it at one time, go through with the planter. And, there are benefits and drawbacks to no-till. Obviously, we could have some stand issues, some long-lasting disease issues with no-till. But definitely, I think that economic kind of factor of it definitely drove a lot of producers this year.
Tibbs anticipates the data from the USDA going forward, particularly as it relates to soybeans, to start to show planting progress being further along around this time of the season, as producers have opted to plant soybeans much earlier than even 10 years ago. The AM dial in every new vehicle remains a big priority for the radio industry. John Clark is with the National Association of Broadcasters.
We have the AM for Every Vehicle Act that we're trying to push through Congress to get over the finish line. And this is in direct response to there are EV manufacturers that are just not putting AM radio in cars. And they're threatening, some are threatening perhaps to take it out of non-EV cars. And all the excuses or the reasons why don't hold weight. And so we are pushing that through, and we got a lot of support here in DC to get that done. We're pretty optimistic that it's going to happen this year. And we need all the help you can get. More support, the better. Call your Congress, call your representative, call everybody. Tell them we need to get this thing done. That's probably what helped more than anything. But we're close, but we don't take anything for granted.
The National Association of Farm Broadcasting is also supportive of the AM in Every Vehicle Act. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. While hinting that a final agreement to end the Iran war could be close, President Trump is pausing Project Freedom. Writing on Truth Social, the president says the effort to guide ships through the Strait of Hormuz being put on hold for a short period of time to see whether the agreement can be finalized. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign minister has met with his Chinese counterpart in Beijing. Trump-endorsed candidates cleaned up in the Indiana State Senate primaries. Of the 7 challengers endorsed by Mr. Trump, at least 5 of them won. Republicans rapidly pursuing redistricting efforts across the South. The price of gasoline, regular gas, climbed just over 30 cents in the past week. The average as of this morning, $4.53 per gallon, that according to the AAA. Dow futures up 578 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 454. More details at srnnews.com.
Hey, if you're hearing my voice, chances are you're either worried about a parent living alone or you are that parent. And you know your family worries about you too. Either way, there's a company that finally got senior safety right. Connected Caregiver. Connected Caregiver is everything you knew about alert devices, fall detection, emergency button, GPS, reimagined for today. There's a small wearable that alerts your family's phone the moment something happens. Inside your home, discrete sensors, no cameras, no microphones, just motion sensors have you covered even when you're not wearing it. No movement for hours, your loved ones will know. For the kids, you go from hoping everything's okay to knowing it is. And for you, you stay in your home on your terms while giving your precious family the peace of mind they've been asking for. That's not losing independence, that's keeping it. Visit ccgoffer.com to see if you qualify for a free device. It takes 2 minutes. That's ccgoffer.com, ccgoffer.com. Do it today.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Highs level off around 59. Today, under cloudy skies, northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies. Tonight, lows dip down to about 39. Mainly sunny skies. Tomorrow, slight chance of rain showers. Daytime highs approaching 63. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Right now, it's 44 degrees.
WHOW planting reports are brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick, AAK Mechanical, Peterson Insurance, Longview Bank, and State Bank of Beemont.
I'm Reed Kamai. In this planting report, we hear from Clint Four, who farms in Shelby County near Shelbyville, and whom I spoke to on the 21st of April. So to start things off, how did preparations go for you before you got the tractors rolling for the spring planting season?
Pretty good. It got here just a little quicker than I anticipated, but overall not bad. We were ready to go.
All right, yeah. So quicker in terms of like the weather working out for you.
Yeah. We didn't expect to be in the field at first day or two of April, but it was okay. Like I said, the weather was much warmer than normal that time frame. So we went ahead and got started planting. Normally, if it's a little on the cool side, we might have held off a little bit. But 80-degree temperatures and dry soil conditions kind of makes it hard to sit and not do anything.
Yeah, there you go. That's how it goes out there. Any issues with getting equipment or parts or getting any of that going before you started planting?
No, we had no issues with that.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like that was smooth for you. Yeah, I know you mentioned weather. Any issues with like input availability or anything, any other challenges like that?
No challenges with availability. I had a little bit of anhydrous that I had not put on last fall on a couple farms. One was a new farm, and one was one that we don't apply fall anhydrous, and didn't expect a blow up in the Gulf and prices to go crazy. So that was a little bit of a sticker shock for those two farms, which fortunately wasn't a lot of acres, but it was just a little, like I said, probably a few weeks late on getting some of that booked. So just didn't anticipate a world event causing issues like that. So, but stuff like that happens.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of folks talking about that. Any other speaking of the war, any other adjustments that you kind of expect to make as the season goes on, kind of because of that?
I don't really anticipate. Fortunately, I've got quite a bit of on-farm diesel storage, and my tanks were all full well before that took place. So I don't anticipate needing any more fuel until next fall. So hopefully between now and then something gets settled down and prices come down a little bit. But like I said, fortunately I shouldn't have to fill up in season here while the prices are sky high. So that's a good thing.
That once again was Clint 4 for this planting report.
Planting season means it's go time on the farm, and downtime is lost productivity and profit. AAK Mechanical in Clinton can provide you mobile welding on your farm or in the field to keep your equipment rolling, or you can take your parts to their welding shop just off Illinois Route 10 east of Clinton. Either way, AAK Mechanical will keep you going this spring. Put this number in your phone, 935-8501. That's 935-8501. AAK Mechanical to get your parts welded and back in operation fast this planting season.
Tom Kenny here, your ag lender at State Bank of BMAT. It's the start of a new year, and while the fields might be quiet, we know your plans aren't. Whether you're lining up seed orders, upgrading equipment, or expanding your operation, we're here to help. At State Bank of BMAT, we built strong roots with our ag community. Whether you need an operating line or funds for expansion, we've got the tools to keep your business moving forward. Stop by or give us a call today. Bank where you belong at State Bank of BMAT. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Running a farm is challenging enough without the added stress of uncertain insurance coverage. That's where Peterson Insurance Services, in partnership with Indiana Farmers Insurance, can help. Jay Peterson here. We take the time to understand the specific needs of your farm, allowing us to tailor coverage that's just right for you. Stop by our office at 117 West Main Street in Clinton, or call 217-935-6605 for a quote. Your farm deserves more than just insurance. It deserves peace of mind.
The 2026 Chevy Silverado Heavy Duty is your official truck for your planting season. Scott Baum here from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. The 26 Silverado is the strongest, most capable ever, with 2 heavy-duty powertrain options, innovative towing technologies, and a large and functional durabed. Silverado HD pulls up ready to get the seed, fuel, or tools you need on the field this spring to get things done on your farm. Baum Chevrolet Buick, right from the start.
In today's digital world, one medium stands out for reaching America's farmers and ranchers: Ag Radio. Farm broadcasters connect agricultural advertisers with the most trusted voices in rural America. While farmers may scroll past online ads or skip television commercials, they actively listen to farm broadcasters for weather updates, market reports, and agricultural news that impacts their livelihood. Ag Radio reaches farmers where they work, in combines, tractors, barns, and trucks across rural America. These aren't just radio personalities. They're trusted advisors who've built relationships with agricultural communities for generations. Data from the National Association of Farm Broadcasting shows that 80% of farmers rely on Ag Radio as a primary information source during planting and harvest seasons, exactly when your agricultural product or service needs to be top of mind. Ready to put the power of farm broadcasting to work for your brand? Visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com and connect with the voices that farmers trust most.
Nate Sams here, Vice President at Longview Community Bank in Clinton. Everyone has something they do best. At Longview Community Bank, our roots run deep. We invest in our local communities, from first homes to small business dreams, acres of crops, or pastures of livestock to put food on our tables. We provide the loans that help our farmers, friends, and neighbors grow and thrive. Invest in your community bank with Longview. Click our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Remember FDIC.
WHOW planting reports are brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick, AAK Mechanical, Peterson Insurance, Longview Bank, and State Bank of Beemont.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Highs level off around 59. Today, under cloudy skies, northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies. Tonight, lows dip down to about 39. Mainly sunny skies. Tomorrow, slight chance of rain showers. Daytime highs approaching 63. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Right now, it's 44 degrees.
Let's check ag news on the RFD radio network. I'm DeLois Yonke. Farmer sentiment declined in April. According to the Purdue CME Group Ag Economy Barometer, the index dropped from 127 in March, 121 in April. Survey among 400 farmers nationwide was conducted from April 13 through 17. The current conditions index dropped by 11 points. Future expectations was down 4 points. Percentage of respondents who listed high input costs as their biggest concern remained at 46% in the April survey. The percentage who listed input availability as their biggest concern went from 11 to 14%. A couple of specific questions in the most recent survey. What impact do you think the Iran conflict will have on your farm's net income in 2026? 53.5% said negative impact, and 12% said very negative. And for the question, what impact do you think the Iran conflict will have on break-even prices for corn in 2026? Almost 37% of respondents said